I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cole?
Here.
Councilmember Schwer?
Here.
Councilmember Wong?
Here.
Councilmember Nordby?
Here.
Mayor Monge?
Here. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
A motion?
Swears? Next.
Second.
Second. Lisa Wong. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion for the consent agenda, please?
A motion?
Councilmember Swears?
Second.
Second. Councilmember Norby? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's the smoothest I ever made it through that.
Way to go.
The next part of the meeting is to open the meeting to make sure I'm in the right spot. Yep. Meeting open to the public.
I think we need to, excuse me, read the consent agenda first. You were so close.
It's pre-approved.
You don't have to read it, you typically do, but you did just approve it.
We're just moving right along.
If you want to read what you've just approved, by all means.
Have to read it to know what's in it?
Well, no, not technically. You have a long history of reading it, but
Okay. All right, so the consent agenda. Item A, February 21st, 2023, regular meeting minutes. Item B, February 21st, 2023, HRA meeting minutes. General claims of $485,893.70. HR claims of $208.78. Approving appointment of the Planning Commission. Approving appointment to the Economic and Development Authority. Approving appointment to the Park and Rec Commission. Resolution supporting request for federal appropriations for the community center. Item I, State Statute 72.02, winter parking ordinance, a temporary exemption for March 18th to March 19th of 2023 from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. That is St. Patrick's Day. Item J, resolution support for state legislative solution to the Minnesota law enforcement staffing crisis. Item K, Electric Department Contract Directional Bore for Sepulveda Boulevard overhead relocation. This is due to the Lilly project. Item L, Electric Department purchase of various size pad mount transformers. And item M, temporary on sale liquor license and charitable gambling application to Church of St. Peter annual school gala for event on Saturday, April 22nd of 2023.
So we asked if somebody wants to pull anything?
If they would, yes. Yep.
We've approved.
Even though it's approved, we'd have to
Well,
back
we're going
up.
backwards now, because I got a little bit too crazy with the invisible gavel I have, so my apologies.
technically you don't need to re-motion it at this point. It's approved. What we just did is informational, so we can move on to open to the public at this point.
You're earning your money tonight, aren't you? You better not put in for overtime. All right, open the meeting to the public at 6:34. Mr. Schmalz. Address, please, in 3 minutes if you could.
John Schmall, 2750 Chisholm Avenue. This will be the only person up here because there are no more slips there. So evidently there was a planning ahead that nobody else could speak.
That was it, huh?
Anyway, I read what you send out, city sends out, and maybe I should stop. But this time around, 2 notifications within 2 minutes for the workshop. Had to read it, had to read both of them. There might have been a change, I don't know, or there wasn't. But maybe you know, I don't know what to do. Should I just ignore it when you see 2 for the same meeting or not? But I guess I am just taught to read what you send out. Anyway, second item is that, was there talk about starting workshops at 5:30? And didn't happen, or did it happen, and you are not holding workshops at 5:30?
There was a request from Wool to have it longer in case it was needed for this.
Okay.
why we-
But that could happen at 5:30.
Yeah, oh, well,
And it should happen at 5:30. But it's an oddball when it happens at 5. So be aware that nothing is static. You got to know what's going on. Okay. And last item, March 22nd, newsletter, an increase from 1201 calls on 2020 through 2030 with calls of 1,230 calls for the fire department is not an increase of 76%. Per the newsletter said it was. Thank you.
okay, thank you, appreciate it, information. All right, I will close the meeting at 6:36 to the public.
Next up is the city business action items and recommendations. What we have on tap is the accept the bids and award contract for the 7th Avenue Street and Utility Improvement Projects, City Project 22-01. We have Morgan Dolly here, our city engineer. Welcome, Morgan.
Thank you, Brian. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, so this item before you is a resolution for consideration by the council to accept bids and award a contract for the 7th Avenue, what we're calling the 7th Avenue Street and Utility Improvements Project, that's City Project 22-01. You may recall that this was a project that was bid last year during what was probably some of the more volatile construction pricing conditions that the state of Minnesota and frankly nationwide have experienced in recent history. At that time, the project came in over estimate, and the council did act to reject bids at that time, and then with a plan to rebid the project. So what you're considering here tonight is the rebid of that project with some slight scope reduction to, again, just work within the limits of existing financing and funding available to construct the improvements and really kind of prioritizing the most important things. Just a background of the project area. This is in the vicinity of 7th Avenue and Helen. And on 7th Avenue, the roads and utilities between First Street on the west side and then just east of Helen, which in 2020, the reconstruction of 7th Avenue was left off. So this will tie in directly to the new pavement on 7th Avenue there, and then go west to First Street, and then also Helen Avenue between 4th Avenue and Sepulveda. It's really kind of centered on what was not originally planned for, but then became a consecutive activity, the redevelopment of the Lilly site, which is on the corner of 7th Avenue and Helen. And the work has been coordinated, discussed between the Lilly folks, Lilly redevelopment team, and the city. And so there is some coordination between the two efforts there, which will, if the council awards a contract here, will move forward through construction into 2024, ultimately ending up with similar to what happened in 2020 with the Sentinel Building redevelopment and the streets and utilities being reconstructed at the same time. Generally, everything should be finishing up in 2024 on the same schedule or very close to one another at the very least, and working in conjunction with one another. The bids were opened on March 15th. I'm sorry, I don't have that date. On March 15th, the bids were authorized of last year by City Council, and bids were opened on Tuesday, February 21st. Sorry about that. And they were competitive. We had 7 bids. They ranged from the apparent low bidder of $3.8 million, just over $3.8 million with Eureka Construction, to a high bidder of just below the engineer's estimate of $4.5 million at about $4.4 million. So that is a good number of bids received, a decent spread. And so I'm happy to recommend award of the project to Eureka Construction in an amount of $3,825,223.40. From a scheduling standpoint, if the council does award a contract here tonight, construction would anticipate it to begin in May, date to be determined exactly, but will be communicated publicly as soon as we would receive that information from the contractor with their schedule. And then continue through until June 30th, 2024 is the specified anticipated completion date. And again, as I mentioned previously, that would be in coordination with some of the Lilly redevelopment activities and construction that is going to happen on their site specifically. With that, again, the consideration here in front of council is resolution, and recommendation is City Council consider that resolution, which is accepting the bids and awarding a construction contract for the 7th Avenue Utility and Street Improvement Project, City Project number 2201. So with that, I'll stand for any questions the council might have.
Nothing, I guess?
No.
No questions?
Okay. Then I think there's a motion and need for the second then to act on the resolution.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Wong,
Second.
second by Councilmember Cole. All
Good
those,
to see it up and back on the books.
Right, right. And with that, good pricing as well too. So we're happy.
aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Morgan.
Reports from city
Yeah,
manager.
thank you, Mayor. So we have the PD, they're gonna be doing some interviews for 2 part-time CSOs and a full-time police officer this Friday. That'd be nice once they get that up, and that would be full-staffed once that happens. They're also gonna be starting a program of community engagement. They are working with Brandon over at Max, that they will allow public come in and have sit-down time with a police officer, and Brendan said that he would pick up lunch for people that comply with that or work with that, so that'll be great. Electric department's been out tree trimming, just doing general distribution system maintenance. As I've mentioned before, that tree trimming really pays off in the summertime storms for keeping the outages down. The auditors are here. They will be finishing up early next week. We are still waiting on some information from Ramsey County to be able to finish it off, but Dan's been right on the ball with that. They've gotten all their information in, so they're just waiting on Ramsey County, and everything's looking good so far. So, and they actually did put a contingency offer for a person who applied for the accountant position that you guys approved last year. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that, and it'll be a nice addition. Public Works, you been doing anything?
No snow, huh?
Yeah. Lots of snow plowing. Sounds like we got more on the way. So I think the public's about done with snow plowing and shoveling. Ron's got a target on his back. And the fire department's also going to be bringing back that Safe Haven program. It's been a while since they did that, but they get carbon monoxide and smoke detectors that then they will go into the homes and actually install them for them. So that'll be really nice.
Any date that they'll receive those by?
I haven't have a start date yet, but I will let you know on that. And that is all I have for now.
All right,
Thank
you
you.
for the update.
Yeah. So next up would be reports of the council and commissions, which will be the EDA annual report. Normally Robert Dew is not the chair of the EDA. He is out of town, so Brandy's going to pick that up. Thank you, Brandy.
Well, I just have a black screen now. Why won't it work? I don't know why this won't work, so I'll just,
Gary's coming to the rescue. She'll do a puppet show.
it was just fine before. Mm-hmm. Doing something different this time. Oh, good, okay. Thanks for your patience. Yes, Robert D. would normally be providing this update to you, so I kind of just took his report and put it into presentation format for the public. So as you maybe already know, the EDA is a seven-member body, and their primary goal is to establish and maintain. The primary goal of establishing and maintaining the EDA is to have an entity that is dedicated to work in concert with the City Council to achieve a shared vision of building a strong and adaptive local economy. So this is primarily accomplished by setting a strong strategic vision for the economic development as framed in the comp plan, defining and guiding a tactical economic development agenda, attracting, retaining, and expanding business within the city, and promoting the city to internal, external audiences. The EDA's primary activities include commissioning plans and studies, fostering new development projects, and business retention and expansion. In its activities, the EDA has continually attempted to balance the demands between what the residents of North St. Paul want it to be and what the market wants the city to be. Ultimately, the EDA has to provide recommendations and guidance to the City Council on what is best for the long-term economic health of the city. The EDA has served as a driving force to put many pieces in place for downtown redevelopment. For example, the EDA worked with the St. Paul Port Authority to solicit developer proposals for the former Lilly newspaper building site. The EDA ultimately engaged with the developer to redevelop that site, which will bring 82 market rate housing units as well as 7 live-work units. That development is anticipated to add $20 million of new taxable real estate value and bring approximately 100 residents to the city. The EDA was also instrumental in the highly successful Sentinel residences and Anchor Commons redevelopment. And they also worked with the proprietor of Max Diner and provided funding to help bridge the financial gap that allowed that restaurant to become a reality. These developments in total have added or will add $1 million in taxable real estate value to the city. The EDA recognizes the contributions of staff, the Planning Commission, the HRA, and of course the Mayor and City Council to what has been achieved in the last decade. In 2021, the EDA also initiated an update to the redevelopment master plan. The updated plan serves as a guiding document for the city as a consolidated and agreed upon vision for the future redevelopment in the downtown area. The EDA is proud of not only the final product, but the collaboration and broad input that went into the plan, and believes it provides a definitive source on what the aligned vision of where we will be going. The EDA, encourages the City Council, Planning Commission, and others in the city, including residents, to use that document frequently when evaluating plan development activity. So in summary, the EDA looks forward to continuing its mission of building a strong, adaptive economy in the city. And the EDA thanks the Mayor, City Council, Planning Commission, and the North St. Paul Business Association for their support and collaboration. And most importantly, the EDA is grateful for the support and opportunity to serve the residents and businesses of North St. Paul. That is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go on to council commission reports. Jason Norby, you have any?
We had a wonderful presentation by the man to my left about the open meeting laws, and especially what was nice is he really tailored it to how it affects the planning commission specifically. So I think, as a city, we have a wonderful asset and are very lucky with the gentleman sitting to my left.
Well, thank you.
Now I know why I got moved down here.
Councilmember Wong?
Yeah, so the Arts and Culture Commission meeting is actually tomorrow. Usually it's on the first Wednesday, but there was a schedule issue. But they are definitely busy at work with different working groups around utility boxes, the Project Snowy, the Art Cart, and the Paint Party. The Paint Party is happening March 23rd at Casey Lake at 6:30 p.m. And there's going to be a guided painting activity to celebrate spring. So that's what's happening with the Arts and Culture Commission, and that's all I got.
Thank you.
Parks and Rec Commission decided to recreate in their homes because of the snow, so we put Ron to work outside. We have canceled the meeting, and it'll be rescheduled for the end of this month.
Thank you.
Randy, first off, thank you for presenting the EDA presentation. I hope everyone, especially the newer folks on here, recognize that the EDA has done a lot over the last several years in developing and moving the city forward in the areas of what the residents actually want to have and see for assets. So I want to thank you for that. The next EDA meeting is Wednesday, March 14th, 3 o'clock here in council chambers. I want to thank Kevin Fuller and Archie Vickerman for their service. They have stepped down. And I don't know their total number of years. I will find that out, and I'm sure we will recognize them as well. And I'd also like to welcome on board Chris Thorson and Joe Matthews as the new members of the EDA.
Thank you. Appreciate it. General business. Councilmember Norby, anything? All right. Councilmember what?
I just have a PSA.
Sure. There you go.
And maybe many people already know about this, but in terms of our residents and just the broader community, I think a lot of folks are experiencing a lot of mental health issues. And so in our community too, I know that's been a big issue too, and something that's been a challenge. And so there's a 988 number now for those thinking of suicide. And so that number is now 988. Before it was really complicated, so they changed that to be a little bit more accessible. But just wanted to bring that up.
Good information.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Commissioners, anything?
I don't have anything.
Councilmember Cole?
Not a whole lot. I attended my introductory class for the Ramsey County Legal Local Government. I'm backfilling some big shoes left by Candy. And I'm looking forward to the first meeting on Friday morning.
On mine, we had the League of Minnesota Cities we went to as some new members here. So we had a lot of good information on that. So that was a very good information. So it was 2 days, it was Friday and a Saturday. So we learned quite a bit and opened just what we learned from our wonderful lawyer down there, Mr. Horn. So we were able to learn more about that and some of the ins and outs. So it was very good as far as that. Also, we have Planning Commission out there. Jim has joined us. Rothby, how I say it? Rothy. I always start with their name. Rothy. Thank you. He's on our Planning Commission. Also, I was able to do a ride along with the police department. So that was good. Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, from 6 p.m. to midnight. It was good to be able to go out with the officer. I apologize, I'm terrible with last names, but Sergeant Ben, what's his last name? Bebenroth? Bebenroth, thank you. Badwich?
Oh, way over. Sorry, Ben.
That's why I didn't try it. So, both of those two. So, and our police chief Phil hooked us up with it. So we went out on patrol. We had a lot of good preventative from the police department. We saw. We were going around looking at different areas that were some trouble areas, just to see the preventative patrol they do, and just to understand, they know the houses that have had issues, they know the area so well, and it was a great experience. A shout out to St. Mark's Lutheran Church over there. They have a side door that the police officers can go in anytime. They have snacks down there for the police officers, so they can stop and have that. They have blankets and toys if they have kids. If there's any kind of issues, they're able to have that. So that was amazing to hear St. Mark's does that. So that was really that was a great to hear about that, and just to see the cars, understand all the equipment they have in there. I mean, he has a big roll tray with, there's so much electronics, they gotta have the cars plugged in when they're parked. That's why they're running all the time, because if you shut them down, you'll never start them again. So just understand that with the police department was a great ride along, and a great way to see how well our police staff does and how much they care and how much they know about the neighborhood. I was at places, even though I ran for mayor, I didn't even know existed, that were North St. Paul, these little corners. So it was very good. I also had a chance to go along yesterday with Public Works, be able to ride in a plow. So that was a lot of fun to be able to do that and just to see what our Public Works Department does and the staff and how hard they work. And I went over to my, my son's house, the day before the storm in St. Paul over on Hatch. Went down the street and just about lost every filling and every fake body part I have with all the bumps in the road and the terrible plowing job. So it's just a big thank you to Public Works and how they take care of the streets around here, and they do excellent work. So we're blessed to have that. So it was a good couple of weeks for me to understand more about North St. Paul and to get to see what all of our community does and the services I think we appreciate and hopefully we don't take for granted. So with that, anything else?
I just think it's interesting how we all want to ride in the plow truck, but nobody wants to mow.
Oh. I'll
She'll do
mow.
that.
I will mow. Skip winter, I will mow.
Give her her own section. Yes.
Adopt a park.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah, Parks and Rec should have to mow. I like that idea. Anything else?
They don't.
They don't. I will adjourn the meeting. If nothing else, anybody called, move to adjourn?
So moved.
So move.
I'll second.
Councilmember Cole, second, Councilmember Swear. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good night.
36 minutes.